I could see the high priority of worship and the low priority of entertainment. I was aware, because I attended some of the services. I just slipped in the back. There wasn't a choir, there wasn't a soloist, nobody was featured. There was a humility to the whole thing. There was a focus toward God that was very apparent to me. But at the time Calvary Chapel got started, you were on the very cutting edge of contemporary Christian music, very attractive, and now you have refined that to the point where it's still extremely popular and carries, I think, a great it's a force in the life and experience and worship of the church. There's a very casual approach to the, I don't know what to say, to the style of the church. I mean, obviously you guys aren't into ties and coats, but that only speaks of the fact that there's a lack of pretentiousness. It's a low church. In fact, we would say in church history, it's as low as the low church gets. And we don't mean low in the base sense, but low in a liturgy sense. It would be the antithesis of the Catholic Church, the Greek Orthodox, the Episcopalian. You're at the other extreme, which, you know, is close to my comfort zone. I'm not a high church person. But I would say that's a distinctive, the ability to make anybody and everybody come in any kind of clothing or any kind of situation in life and feel comfortable. From a theological standpoint, it sort of has an identity all its own. It's sort of a hybrid, I guess. I heard somewhere that Baptists think Chuck is a Pentecostal and Pentecostals think he's a Baptist. And so there's a certain amount of ambivalence among people about exactly where it lands doctrinally. So it has sort of an identity all its own, but that's not to be, we're not to be surprised by that, because there is a progression in history in the development of doctrine, so that at every point in time in the history of the church, there are movements that have nuances of newness to them and freshness to them. History's going to look back and see a guy with a mainline Pentecostal background who became, in some ways, the crusader against where Pentecostalism went. So, you know, he's a unique guy because he's not a critic on the outside. He's a critic on the inside in one sense. He has a certain gentleness about him. He has a certain humility about him. He's not pretentious, that's obvious. He's very real, very casual, kind of laid-back guy, easy to get to know, very easy to talk with, sort of non-threatening. I have to say, there's so many, you know, Paul said, having done all to stand in Ephesians 6. There are a lot of people who've done all, but when the smoke clears, they're not standing. Some great disaster occurs in many lives. And I look at a man like that, and I just thank God for the years and years of integrity, faithfulness, that's never been violated, so that even now, guys that I meet in Calvary Chapel don't see him as superhuman, but they see him as a man of God, and that's never been lost. I mean, he's never done anything to lose that. That's integrity.